Well, good evening. It's a sunny Wednesday evening, and I'm glad you could tune in to this week's edition of What's Up Wednesday here at Handy Andy's. Always look forward to having you tune into these videos and again get some helpful information and get to see a little bit of what's going on here down at the nursery on times that maybe you don't get a chance to get down here, and so we're going to let you have a little bit of a look as far as what's going on here down at the store. So thanks for tuning in. And we're going to get to our featured topic, which is DIY holiday pots. We're going to talk about the ins and the outs of how to design and deck out your holiday outdoor pot. Our holiday outdoor pot workshops were extremely popular this year, probably more popular than they've ever been. We opened additional sessions, and even those filled up. So it's been a difficult thing to get into those, but we have the opportunity for you to get a box of greens, which was the same allotment as you would have received if you came to the class, and then you'll have an opportunity to take that box of greens home, shop the floor for our picks and some of the things we're going to feature in the video, and go home and do your own project at home. So we're going to get to that DIY method a little bit later on, but I want to spend a few minutes here as we get started talking with you about what's coming up in the week to come and sharing with you some of the holiday displays that we have here in the store. So we are ready for Christmas, as you can definitely see. We have a beautiful display of a beautiful selection of decor and lots to choose from for making your home look festive and wonderful this holiday season. This display has a nice selection of items to choose from. There's some white gnomes there. There's some really fun signs there. There's some tin that's really unique and some real popular trees, plush trees that have been kind of flying out of here. So this is just a sampling of one of the displays that we have here in the store. Lots of decor options to choose from this year. Lots of things to choose from to make your home look just fantastic and beautiful this holiday season. So nice selection of, there's a gold display here. It has some nice fun items in it. Some gold pots that could look great with a Christmas cactus or something holiday popped into them. Of course, plants are always in style. So plants always go with any holiday, but lots of things to choose from. Did want to spend a few minutes talking to you about our holiday hours that are coming up next week. Of course, next week all of a sudden is the week of Thanksgiving. If you can believe that, it's unbelievable how fast the time has gone. I'm zooming in here close up on one of our trees that we do have set up. Our trees did arrive, and we'll be ready to go with those hopefully by Monday of next week, which is the week of Thanksgiving. Some nice ornaments and some things to choose from on this tree. All those are available in store as well. I did want to spend a minute or two talking with you about what our holiday hours will be the week of Thanksgiving and then thus far after that. So let's get to that for just a half a minute. Next week, our hours will plan to be what they have been this summer fall season, which is they'll be 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. We will be closed that Thursday of Thanksgiving, and then we'll be open Saturday 9 to 5, and then after Thanksgiving our Sunday hours will actually start. We'll have about 4 or so Sunday dates that we will be open on Sunday from 1 to 4. So Sunday the 28th will be the first Sunday that we will be open for the holiday season. So we would look forward to having you join us for that if that's a good day for you. And of course our trees and things will be ready to go hopefully by Monday. And after that Sunday, after the 28th, which is a Sunday, then our hours will extend weekday evenings to 7 p.m. So and that will happen for much of the first part of the month of December as folks are coming to get their tree and just it's the busy holiday season and they're looking to get in on whatever they need to stop in and get, and so our hours will be extended by an hour on weekday evenings until 7 p.m. That will begin that Monday, November 29th. So that's a little bit of a look. We will of course be closed on Sunday. Look for us in the parade on Black Friday, the Light of Harmon Park Parade. We're always in that, so we look forward to seeing you for that. And then the hours on Saturday will be 9 to 5 that coming Saturday, and of course this coming Saturday too. We're going to look at a few more holiday displays here and then get a chance to go in the classroom and have a look at this DIY holiday pot option. Another display of some Christmas decor. again, a nice selection of things to choose from. We always aim to do a nice job with our opportunities for Christmas decor. It's a great time of year. Something that you can always find something nice as far as giftware for those who you might be shopping for this holiday season. So also to maybe decorate your own home and enjoy the festive time of Christmas and the holidays. So lots to choose from. As I mentioned earlier in the video, we did get our trees in, so we did get a couple trees up and displayed, and you see a couple of those here with some lights on those this evening. We did move our greens display to the back of the greenhouse, so that's something that'll be new. If you've been to see us already this year, then you'll know that they were located by the classroom, and we did move that here this week. So that did change, and you can see so that we are set up for greens. As I mentioned, our DIY holiday pot description is going to be happening here later on in the video, and so I'm going to show you, get an opportunity to work with Kayla and show you some methods for DIY your holiday pot, since our workshops were very popular. So got some samples here that I'm kind of zooming in on, waiting for a few of you to pick this video back up again, and we'll go in there and get a chance to cover that. So nice selection of items to choose from to deck out that holiday pot. We're going to talk about those. We've got some picks, we've got some ribbons, we've got some other things that can really help make your holiday pots look great. So we are going to head that direction. Head right through our roll-up door here. Of course, I've got the aquatics area off over there. We've got some picks and some naturals on display on the cart. We have a display of all the different picks and adornments that you could use. We've got some birch options over here, and we're just going to head straight ahead into our classroom. Got our floral cooler in there. You've maybe heard of the shower bundles and the shower bouquets and things that have been flying out of here. That's where you can find many of those items. But we're going to get a chance to learn about holiday pots. So I've got Kayla here.
Hello.
And she's going to help us with some step-by-step on how to go about this project.
So, as you see, I kind of have my container picked out. Once you get your container picked, that's the first step that you can get. Andrew has put some mulch in the bottom of my container here, and then he's layered it on top with this nice peat that is a little softer, easier to get your sticks in there. But on my bucket, you can see that I do have some joy letters on mine. So if you have a plain container, it doesn't really apply to you. But if you have like a handle or some letters, make sure you have the front of your bucket facing front when you start. That way you don't have to take your whole arrangement out and then redo it all over again. But for anybody that will be coming to the holiday pot class, I grabbed the greens that are in your allotments. I do have a few other choices on the floor if you'd like to shop for those. You can grab them. Is it glitching? No? Okay, you can grab them when you come to the class, like some incense cedar or some Douglas fir, that kind of a thing. But these are the greens that will be in your allotments, and trust me, there's plenty to fill your pot. The first one I'm going to start with is a nice fir. I believe this is Fraser fir.
Yep.
These guys have nice long stems. They all kind of come a little wonky. They do have a really good curve to them. I'll teach you a little trick with putting those in your containers too. Then we have some cedar here. I believe this is like a western cedar. You can see it's very droopy. It flops over. This is really great for a spiller on your container to spill over the front of your container. There is some Port Orford out there as well. The only main difference between those is that the Port Orford is very tall and has a firm middle branch. It's very sturdy, while the western is pretty floppy. So that's the main difference between the two. Other than that, there is some Princess Pine, one of my favorites. I love this. It's another sturdy branch. You can use these ones as fillers in the middle or even spillers. Some people have put them towards the front of their pot too. One of the last ones in your allotment though is this blueberry juniper. Love this. It has a great scent to it. Maybe that helps. There we go. It has a really good fragrance to it. Some people either they love it or they hate it. There's really no in between. I haven't heard any in between. But there was a little gentleman that came here and did say that these are not berries, they are cones.
Yep, that's right. They are. It's a coniferous plant, juniper are, and like everything, there is no fruit associated with conifers. So,
Nope.
yep, it's the cone.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our Fraser because this is what we like to call the thriller. It's your nice sturdy pieces that you want in the back of your arrangement. Okay, so when you have your piece, I'm going to start with one that does look a little wonky. Oh, let's go for this one. So here is a piece. I have nice branches all the way out, all over the place here. I got a pruners, Andrew's hanging his new pruners too. So my pot is a little shorter, so if I stick him in all the way down there, he's going to kind of get stuck in the mulch. So I'm going to cut him down to start off. Cut that bottom off, so that way he doesn't have to stick so far into the pot. It's really hard to dig him into that mulch, so make it easier for yourself and cut it a little shorter. And then I can see I have this nice branch coming off the side here, so I'm going to cut him off because I like mine to stand a little more straight in my arrangement. There we go. Cut him. And you are more than welcome to cut wherever you please on your boughs. You can chop and chop and chop. So now I have a nice one single stem that works great as just by itself. So then once I have my one stem, I'm going to go ahead and shove him into the pot, kind of dig him into that mulch.
I'm not going to make you do it backwards, Kayla.
No, sorry, I'm not going to do it backwards. I'll turn it for you guys. But yes, so as I mentioned in the beginning when you guys walked over here to me, some of these do have a really good curve. See how it's starting to curve? When you put them in your pot, if you just shove it in here, the Fraser especially is going to curve towards you. And so if you plan on putting any pine cones or some shelf sitters, things like that in the front of your pot, they kind of get covered when it's curving towards you. So my trick for putting the Fraser in or any thrillers in the back is put them more at a little bit of an angle away from you so that they naturally stand straight. That way you have it nice and open for your little trinkets in the front. You won't be making them disappear. So I'm just going to keep adding my Fraser, get my backdrop made. And like I said, you're more than welcome to cut wherever you please. And just kind of get it tucked in there however you like it to be. I'm going to try and stick to one branch here. Okay. I kind of like how that sits. Yeah. So I'm going to turn it for you. This is my first layer, my nice backdrop. Just have my Fraser. I like the height that I'm at. Keep that in mind, how tall you want to go to. So once you have your Fraser or your backdrop, I like to move on to a different texture. So that's when I start going for my Port Orford, which is usually the really tall, really strong stemmed cedar. So like this guy, he's a little floppy, but he's way sturdier than these guys are. You can kind of see the difference a little bit there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick him in and just layer him around. I like the textures to be a little different. And once again, just got to work it into that mulch. I'm going to stick a few pieces of him in there. Okay, one more, I think. Okay, so now I have another texture. You can, he might be zooming in enough to where you can see, but when you're looking at it, even from away, you can really tell the different textures. That helps it kind of blend all together as a centerpiece or as a big piece. So once I have my cedar, what I do personally is I go back to my Fraser. I go back and get just a few of these little pieces, dependent on what size container you have, and I just stick them a little bit here and there in the front. I'm gonna go for this one. He's cute. And there is absolutely no rhyme or reason to how I stick these in. It is just all kind of how it comes to you. So I just stuck a few little pieces of Fraser in there to get another fullness to it.
Layer.
So, yeah, so it doesn't, you don't have holes in there. You don't want to have holes. Now I'm gonna go to my other texture, my Princess Pine. This is my favorite. Love the pine. So when I'm going for the, we had mentioned having a thriller, a filler, and a spiller. So right now you can see these are my thrillers. They're my backdrop. So now I'm going to start, since I have a nice backdrop, I'm going for my fillers. This is my medium size, the grunt of the display, that kind of a thing. When I go for my pine specifically as a filler, I like to get them with a nice stalk. You know, your pine can kind of be sparse like this little guy. These I save for the front, for the spillers. So when I'm putting my fillers in as pine, I like to have a little bit of a big, large
One
clump.
uniform stem.
Yes, one big clump of it. And then I go ahead and I stick him in just kind of however. Okay, I'm going to go for it. There. Have a few different textures there. Curve him a little bit. Okay, once I get a little bit of my filler in, I'm going to my next filler. Love this blueberried juniper. And if you have a little piece that kind of sticks off, like this guy here, I'm just going to cut him right off. He's just going to be right in the way. And I'm going to go for him too. Keep in mind too, especially with this juniper, as you see I have a nice berry clump down here on the bottom of the stem. Well, he's going to be shoved into the peat or the mulch anyway. So rather than hiding him, I can't do this left-handed. Let me switch over. I like to cut him off so I have a nice bare stem when I stick him in. That way I'm not wasting any of the berries.
It's easier to get it in there too.
Yes, that too. There, I have a nice little centerpiece there. And remember, there's no rhyme or reason to this. Okie dokie. There, now I have some little bit of a filler. After I get that, then I just start layering back once again. I'm going to go back and get some Fraser. Just a few little pieces. I like the textures. I always like to make sure that I have textures on textures. I don't like to have too many rows of the same format.
A lot of nice dimension here.
Have a little hole here.
You have a plan for what's going to go there?
I'm finding one of these guys.
Okay.
There we go. Pull the pine out, make sure he sticks out. Okay, see I have a little hole here. So I'm going to fill him up. I don't want to cover up the berries though, so I'm going to kind of stick him in at an angle. See how I kind of accomplished that. And then I have a hole here again. But, once again, I'm going to go off and change my texture. I'm going to take some pine. Stick him there. Okay, once you've gotten to this point, you see I do have a nice gap for the peat that's here. I want you to leave that. And that is going to be there for any pine cones you want to add. Or like a shelf sitter, if you want to put that in there. Or an ornament, cute little gingerbread ornament, or whatever it may be. When I'm at this point, this is when I start going back and looking for my height. So I grabbed some birch logs that have already been cut down that are available for purchase on the floor. And we're going to go ahead and try and stick these in here. These are a little bit tougher because once you get into the mulch, they get kind of stuck in there. So make sure you shove them in really good. Alright, I kind of have my logs in there now. And I got a little bit of a different height there. They're not too much of a difference. You can go as short as you want or tall, whatever it may be. Once I get my logs in there, then I'm going to start playing with my western cedar. Here, my floppy stuff. Okay. These guys can be a little tricky now. I want him to spill over the front, but also keep in mind I do have words on mine, so I don't want to cover the words. So I'm going to be spilling off to the side. See how I kind of stuck him in there like that and then just let him drape? One thing that I have seen, because we've already started our holiday pot classes, as you guys have seen, we do have available spots for tomorrow, so grab those if you are wanting to attend. But the one thing I've seen with a lot of people is they'll take their cedar and they'll shove it in like this and try and get it to cover that dirt. You don't have to worry about that. Your pine cones or your items that you're going to be sticking in there will cover that up so you won't see it. It's much easier to stick your cedar in like this and get a little bit of the stem in there, because as we've seen in this North Dakota wind, the objects might blow away. So sometimes it's nice to get a little bit of a stem in there so it's nice and sturdy.
Sure. So for those putting their container outside, usually what we recommend people do when they get home from the class is to take some water and put a real good liberal couple of pitchers of water in your creation, and that will form an ice block in that container, and that will pretty much ensure that whatever made it into that ice will stay put.
Had to turn it so I can see.
Yep.
Okay, now I've got a little bit of a spiller in there, kind of like how it flops on each side of the Joy. Now where I'm at is I'm going to start with my picks. Here I've grabbed some picks off the floor. Let's see here. Take that off. Okay, I am a very farmhouse kind of classic Christmas gal, but you can see I did grab some glitter. It's gold, and gold is 2021's color of the year. So we have lots of gold picks out there. Had to grab some of those. So as you can see, you can either cut that off. There is wire in there, so you will need a wire cutter. You can either cut that off to make it a little shorter for when you stick in, but sometimes I just bend it. That way, if you do purchase it, you can use it for a taller pot next year if you go to reuse it. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick him in there. Kind of like how he sits like that. Get my other picks that I've grabbed in there.
So Kayla, while you're doctoring yours up, I'm going to walk around and show some of these other samples that have been done. Here we see our backdrop is got the Douglas fir to it. We've got some interest there with some grass that could have been even left in this pot from the summer. So if you still haven't dumped out your pots from summer, or you haven't dumped out your fall pot, you might be able to use some of those items in your container. Have a crabapple berry spray here, and then we have another layer of some fir. This is noble fir. And then we get down a little further, and we have our interest. We've got a couple of ponderosa pine cones there, some blueberry juniper, and over the front of this enamel bucket, we've got this incense cedar that has the yellow cones to it. So that enamel bucket there looking great. This is a cement planter that was done up. Some ribbon was used to kind of dress that guy up. We've also got our backdrop of Douglas fir. We've got a shiny pick here, a glittery pick. Got some other berry sprays in here that are available. Then we have some magnolia, dried magnolia that's here, and a birch log that's adding some dimension to it. And we have our blueberry juniper there up front on this one. Birch logs are always an attractive choice, and that one is a very common option used, but some varying heights of that available here to take home with your greens allotment. So you can come and get this flat of greens without coming to the class and take it home and do this project at home. We have a lot of things to choose from in the store, so you can come check out what we have to choose from, and you can take your items home even if you couldn't get into the class and make this project at home. That's kind of the idea of using this What's Up Wednesday as our DIY for you to get a chance to learn how we sort of assemble this stuff and what we explain in the workshop. So there, a bow is a real strong statement in this container with that star that's there, a little bird, and you've got a little more glitz on one side of this container and some cattails on the other. But again, we're using our fir as our backdrop. There is a grass in there, again from earlier in the season perhaps. And there's a little bit of cedar in here, but the bow really makes a big statement in this container. This one was one that was done up, I think yesterday, and it adds a lot of unique texture by adding some eucalyptus, which you can find in our floral cooler. There's a couple of types of eucalyptus here. The baby eucalyptus, which you might be most familiar with, is this tall stuff. But there's also the silver bells euc that's in here that is very unique and fun looking, this potted, strange looking eucalyptus. There's also the incense cedar here in the front, and there are these dried Kager leaves that are using the back as our kind of main thriller on this project. So we've got lots of samples of some things to choose from and to look at. Come check out all the decor displays, as I kind of showed you some in the video, and you can shop from those displays and have a look at what you could use and get your box of greens and go ahead and come home and get home and do your project at home. So how's it coming over here, Kayla?
It's coming along. All right, so I added some picks to it, just kind of stuck them in there. You can see I really like how they look, but I did find one issue. This green guy, he really kind of blends in. So I'm going to trade him out. I'm going to go ahead and stick my block sign in there. I just kind of nestle him right on top of the greens there. I really like this gingerbread. If I was doing this at home, what I would do is I would take this stick, just like a stick of any sort, and I would hot glue him to the back of it. But I don't have a hot glue gun ready, and this is a live video, so I'm just going to stick him in there for now. But I want him to kind of sit where that green pick was. And then I'm going to have my little pine cone in here. And you can see I still have a gap. I still have a little hole, so you can still see the peat moss. We were planning on covering that up. So I'm going to go back in with my greens. I'm going to get some of the princess pine. I want just a little guy like this. And then what I do, once I have my items in there, I just kind of really lightly tuck them in. That one had a short stem. I like them to have a longer stem like I had mentioned before. But I do, in just a sense, mostly tuck them under. Okay, and I really like the blue juniper berries. So I'm going to make sure I get some right up front. That piece isn't working for me. Let's go for this guy. There. Now see, you've covered that hole, so you don't see the peats there anymore. Looks very complete. One thing that you can add, I actually did make a bow. I didn't know if I was going to use it or not. I ended up not using it, but we do have lots of pre-made bows here that are ready for sale. I think they're right behind me. We're going to restock them tomorrow. So these will be out there. They are tagged and priced per yard. Most of them are 2 yards, just so you know. But another finishing touch, wherever they have gone, are fairy lights.
Well, can't be without the lights.
Can't be without the lights. There's no way. So we have 2 types of fairy lights here, actually. This is one type. They're a little bit shorter, meaning they're not as long. So they work great for your smaller pots like this. And I'm just going to set them there. Actually grab some of those. And then we do have some longer fairy lights, which might have been in one of those pots. If not, there's some in the pot behind you on the steps there, Andrew. Batteries are kind of going out. But those are very, very long fairy lights. They work great for your larger pots.
Oftentimes, most of creations is it's dark outside, so it's nice to have some lights once in a while.
Yep. And as people ask me, should I put fairy lights in this? I don't know if I need them or not, and I usually tell them that's not a great question to ask me because I will always say yes to fairy lights. I will always say yes, no matter if it's in your house, outside, whatever. I always think it's the perfect finishing touch. These ones out on the floor, they do have a little bit of a yellow hue to them, so they aren't the really crystally white. But the first thing I do when I'm adding fairy lights to my container is you have this battery pack and this long part where there's no lights. So I find where I'm going to hide that at. That's my first decision. I usually tuck him in the back. Kind of wiggle him in between so he comes out looking natural. I'm going to tuck him back here. There. So now I got him sticking out kind of wonky. My best advice for when you're putting fairy lights in, if you're struggling, yes, they have been coiled or wrapped up, so there is a natural curl to them. Don't fight it too much. Just kind of play with it, let it kind of flow in there. It's the best way to make it look natural. Sometimes if you want them to stick in a specific spot, yes, you're more than welcome to bend them or kind of crease them around a bow or something of that sort, or tuck them underneath a block sign like I have just done. And when you're putting fairy lights in, I think about you're wanting them to accent your pieces in your pot that you already have. So I don't want to clump a whole bunch of them in front of my block sign like that. You know, I kind of want them to flow all over the pot. Usually I tuck them behind my picks because then they pop a little bit more. There. And then I kind of just looped him around in there. That's kind of how it flowed for me. But this would be my finished product. And this is what you could put in your home, on your mantle, or on a tabletop, front step, anywhere. There's so many options.
Thank you, Kayla, for walking us through that. And I'm so glad you could tune into the video here this evening and hopefully got some good information and some help with how to go about that process on your own. Come in and get your greens picked out. We looked at our greens display a little bit ago. And do come in and check out the pick options that we have. She mentioned and featured some of those. Also, some of the ornaments that were featured in there, they're available for purchase, as well as are some shelf sitters, some box signs, some other items that could make that creation really unique and yours on your front step. So I'm going to spend a couple more minutes with you, talking with you about what I have coming up after the first of the year. We're really excited and just can't wait for what we're going to be doing to garden during the winter months when we can't be outside. So I'm going to show you a few workshop opportunities we have coming up here in 2022. So one of the first coming up on the 22nd of January, we're going to be working with tropicals. As you know, we do have a nice selection of tropicals and aim to always here at the store. So we'll be talking about the care of tropicals. We'll be making a dish garden and learning about the plant needs, the various needs of different houseplants and tropicals indoors. So we'll be putting that creation together, and you'll get to go home with some knowledge about how to care for houseplants. So that one comes up on the 22nd. There are 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. sessions for all of our Saturday workshops in the winter months. It makes it really easy to decide which one is easiest for you to come to, and it usually ensures that the workshops stay open as long as possible so that many folks can get into them as want to come. So we've really been happy with the addition of another session always. Do bear in mind that during our workshop opportunities, our coffee kiosk is open, and if you're coming to our workshops, you get $1 off that drink for coffee there if you're interested in that. So our Shivers coffee kiosk is open most Saturdays, and those workshop attendees get $1 off their drink. It's also open for the weeknight classes that you may be coming to here for the holiday season. But do want to put a plug in for our folks there at Shivers. So we're going to look at our next opportunity. Comes up in February. We always try to do a workshop surrounding Valentine's Day, and this Be My Valentine workshop is going to be an awful lot of fun. We'll be working with Cut Floral, and you'll get to come to a workshop and be led on how to do your own arrangement for Valentine's Day. So Be My Valentine happens on the 12th of February. There's again a 10 a.m. and a 2 p.m. session. That's a Saturday. And you'll get a floral allotment with that workshop. you'll get an opportunity to be, again, led step by step on how to make a floral arrangement. That will be a great opportunity just in time for Valentine's Day. You can maybe bring a friend, sign 2 of you up, bring a friend, and give a gift to somebody, or take it home and say, my secret admirer gave me this. They'll never know who you got it from, and they'll never know you made it yourself. So that one should be a great opportunity and a lot of fun. The next one is new for our 2022 season. I'm excited to lead this one, and we'll be learning about how to cultivate and grow indoors culinary mushrooms. So we'll be working with some medium that they grow in. We'll be working with some spores of different types, and we'll be having an opportunity to learn about this fun opportunity. Mushrooms, as you probably know or remember from your school days, are not a plant. They're a fungus, and so they don't require some of the same needs as plants do, and they make a great item to try and grow indoors because they don't require some of those same needs that plants do. So they can be an awful lot of fun, and we're going to learn a lot about the care of mushrooms and how to be successful getting those started in an indoor environment. So that one should be great and a lot of fun information, that cultivating mushrooms, coming up on the 19th of March. After that, last year we did a workshop on microgreens and on seed starting, and we had a great time with some folks that day, getting to sample some different microgreens and getting to enjoy that very unique method of gardening also. So we're going to be doing microgreens again, and we're going to be partnering it with our seed starting workshop on the 26th, and that will be a great opportunity to learn about how to get seeds to wake up. I mentioned that in the workshop that we had last night. Folks often try and grow their own food and do a lot of things as far as veggie gardening, or they will try and start seeds, and inevitably they either struggle or they're not real pleased with the results that they necessarily get. It's a great opportunity when you're starting your own seed because the opportunity of what do I want to grow goes way up. If you come to the garden center in the spring of the year and you look through our vegetable crops or you look through our flowers, we have a nice selection of product. There's no getting around that. We do really have a nice selection of options to choose from. But if you were to say, do I have all the options? Not even close. It wouldn't be possible. But if I'm starting from seed, my options go way up. And so in the seed starting workshop, we'll cover how to be successful getting things to wake up, because it's different than growing them from an already awake plant with leaves on it. So how do we get those seeds to wake up? What are some of those cues that the plant needs in order to know it's time to wake up? How do we provide those? How do we get good germination and be real successful starting things from seed? We'll also, again, as I mentioned, be talking about microgreens in this workshop, which is a returning method of gardening indoors, where you can start your many of your leafy green items like broccoli, kale, cauliflower, maybe alfalfa, lots of fun things, and you start those indoors from seed, and you go from sowing to harvesting in just days. So that seed starting and microgreens workshop should be a great opportunity to get a lot of good information on those opportunities of gardening. So the last one I want to mention, and I mentioned it in some of the workshops if you've come to those already this season, but I am really excited about the selection of plants that exists right in our backyard, literally here in western North Dakota, parts of Montana, South Dakota right beneath us. And so in light of that, I am going to be doing a workshop featuring some of those items, a book that I read called Great Plains Gardening. Great Plains Garden. We're going to focus on some of those plants that you can find growing right out in the prairie. Maybe if you went on a hike in Theodore Roosevelt, you would probably find some of these items growing in the national parks that are around or the state parks that are around. And so we're going to get a chance to get familiar with some of these items that grow right in our own backyard, literally, and spend some time getting familiar with those and learning about those, and a chance to maybe have your own little Great Plains garden in some corner of your yard and have it require very little to no care at all. So that's just a sample of some of the workshops that we do have coming up this holiday or this season. As we look forward to the new year in 2022, we have really a lot of fun planned for what we're going to do to garden indoors at a time when it's too cold to be gardening outside. So for all of us at Handy Andy's, I want to thank you for watching today. I want to welcome you to come in and check out all that we have to offer this holiday season. Run over to our website and check out some of those winter workshop opportunities. HandyAndysNursery.com is where you want to go. Find the workshops tab up in the top of the menu of the website. We'd love to see you for any or all of those fun gardening opportunities. And with that,